we'll be reviewing on today's edition of News Headlines Review. Today, the 8th of Rabiul Awal, 1445 A8. That is the third month of the Islamic calendar, and this coincides with the 23rd day of September 2023. Today, according to United Nations, is the International Day of Sign Languages. So if I say to you, all my viewers and listeners, that means I love you. I love you, and it's on the basis of that love that I welcome you to another edition of the News Headlines Review. Today, I would be, I'm alone. Haja Amina is not here, neither do we have MC Vibe. So I will be running the show alone. It's a solo run, and I hope that you can be with me and you can be my partner on this edition of News Headlines Review. Today, like I said, I'm here alone, and I hope that you can join me. This is just to let you know that you can be part of this program by sending your questions, comments, and contributions to us on all our social media platforms. Remember that this is Light Radio, your source for knowledge, and you can be part of this discourse by calling or sending your message to the number 0809 738 4000 0809 738 4000. You can send your comment to us on Facebook, Light Radio. The symbol is LR, Light Radio. So you can send your comments to us on Light Radio. You can also follow us, the Light Radio, on Twitter, the Light Radio, Twitter, Light_Radio, on Instagram, Light_Radio on Instagram. You can also follow us, send a message to us on Gmail, and that's official.lightradio@gmail.com. You can also follow us via Radio Garden. Just tune in to Light Radio. You will surely be a part of it. Light Radio is streaming live from our studios here in Lagos. So, without wasting further ado, we'll go straight into the headlines. A lot of things that have happened, during the week, which I want to believe you are a part of. So, what we do on this program is to give insights and perspectives to some of these events, so that you can make an informed decision concerning some of this issue, especially as patriotic citizens of this country. So anywhere you are, all over the world, this is the news, headlines review. So in the news, we know this week the president was, and is still actually in New York, in United States of America. So during the week, the president actually gave Nigeria's statement to the UN, United Nations General Assembly. At that floor, he represented the country and presented the opportunities or investment opportunities that are open here in Nigeria, and that's the maiden attendance of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces Federal Republic of Nigeria, following his inauguration on 29th of May 2003. So he attended and he discussed a whole lot of things, especially for the fact that Africa has come of age, and Africa will no longer tolerate scavenging by the developed countries at the detriment of the citizens of Africa. So he said that opportunity for those that want to actually engage in ethical, legal businesses opportunities are open in Nigeria. He also gave his view concerning the coup in Niger, saying that he's not interested in actually putting boots on ground in Niger. Rather, what he's interested in is a democratic administration in the Niger Republic, and he hopes that the international community will support ECOWAS in that move to restore democracy in Niger Republic. Along the sideline, the president also rang the closing bell at NASDAQ, becoming the second African leader to do so. There was this mix-up with with his media aides, saying that he was the first president to ever do that. But then they've been corrected that we had a former president, here in Africa, I think former president of Namibia, who was given the opportunity to also do that in 2011. So 12 years down the line, President Tinubu has also been given such opportunity. I said, and at that floor of NASDAQ, that yes, being a stock market and the largest, one of the largest in terms of participants as far as the whole world is concerned, that such opportunities are also open in Nigeria, for the fact that they are trying to restore investment confidence in the Nigerian economy. that the idea of multiple exchange rates is actually being worked on. The idea of insecurity has also been tackled, and some of the encumbrances to business investment as well, are also receiving attention vis-a-vis the issue of fuel subsidy and the like like that. And he said he knows quite well that economically Nigerians are feeling the pain. They feel that over time we will get over it, and Nigerians are only hopeful and praying that we hope that this suffering would actually be worth it following the removal of fuel subsidy. All right, so moving on. Said FD makes more appointments into cabinet presidential position. We'll remember that during the week there was the announcement of 2 ministerial nominees for cabinet positions in the Ministry of Youth. And this time around we have Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim from Kwara State as Minister of Youth, and Ayodele Olawande as Minister of State for Youth, to join the 45 cabinet members already inaugurated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that is that. So that puts to paper, that puts to bed the speculations surrounding who would be appointed Minister of Youth. And going by these kinds of appointment, kudos must go to the president, because these are youth. Both of them are actually less than 40 years, and that is quite commendable. The Minister of State for Youth that came from Ondo State, based on the reports that we have, and Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim, who is a daughter of the former Minister of Sports in Nigeria, is from Kwara State, a frontline politician for that matter, a former member of the House, a former member House of Assembly in Kwara State and the House of Representatives, and a former Minister of the Federal Republic. So now the daughter is also following that regard. Now I hope that it's not a case of we are only recycling the same set of people. I hope that's not what we are seeing, because a whole lot of things are coming together. But for the fact that they're actually youth, kudos to the president. So you have many youth representatives in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Minister of Digital Economy and Communications, Bosun Tijani, is a youth. We know the Minister of in charge of humanitarian affairs, Dr. Betta Edu, is a youth. We know that Dr. Uzoka Anite from Imo State, 42 years, is also a youth. And at least we have this youthful representation in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Also, apart from that, we also heard of the appointment of the former head of service here in Lagos State, Mr. Morio Kwara, who has been appointed as a private secretary to the president. And we have Hakeem Baba Ahmed, an elder brother of the running mate of Mr. Peter Obi, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed. So Mr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed has now been appointed an SA special advisor on political affairs in the office of the vice president, and so many other appointees, as much as about 18 appointees in the office of the vice president. Now, in all of this, well, we might say yes, these are square pegs in the round pegs in round hole, but then I have issues. The issues there is the fact that the cabinet is extremely too large, with so many people having duplicated roles in the presidency. So now we are having a cabinet. Already we have 47 ministerial nominees now, 45 already confirmed ministers. Now Kaduna does not have a minister yet, so if at all would have one other person from the cabinet from Kaduna State, so we'll be having a 48 ministerial cabinet. Now we have retinue of special advisors, special assistant, private secretaries, senior special assistant, chief of staff. Now we have a government of over 100 people in the executive working, as members of the executive cabinet. That is extremely too large. We are saying that Nigeria does not have money. We are saying we have revenue problems. We are saying that we have debt problems. And at the end of the day, we are increasing the cost of governance. This is insane. This is unacceptable. How can you say, and all these people will be paid from taxpayers' money? The the poor citizens that are saying they should tighten their belt. We have lost our waistline. Now, so you are punishing us just to take care of few people. That is insane. That is insensitive. Mr. President, we don't only have revenue problem, we also have expenditure problem. because we are spending too much money just to keep this government running at the expense of the poor masses. Now, at the end of the day, you imagine that all the monies that are taken from us, what are we getting in return? Zilch. Nothing. The palliatives, politicians have stolen it. That's a fact. It's money for the boys. Now we have lost fuel subsidy. Electricity tariff has gone up. You have increased the price of prepaid meter. You have increased school fees. We pay for our own health services. We fix our own roads ourselves. We provide security ourselves because the police is unable to provide security for us. During the week, in fact, for over 1 month now, we have core members that have been abducted while going to the orientation camp. Those ones are still there. The case of Mohbad is there. We've not been able to unravel those behind his death. So many people are dying. Insecurity. Food inflation has hit the roof. People are unable to feed. They are unable to buy over-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs. Go to hospitals, people are begging. And we claim to have government. And at the end of the day, all that we get in terms of resources is going to taking care of the people in government. We are saying we don't have money. The legislators have gotten 110 billion naira. The supplementary budget, you have allocated another set of billions to the judiciary. In all of this, there is nothing concrete concerning increment in minimum wage. How about those that are not even government employees? Who's taking care of us? So in all of this, we are appealing. See, that is an extent to which, for people, for the masses, endurance has a limit. That is an extent to which you push them, that they can bear. The coups that are happening in our neighboring countries, it's not because the citizens are interested in coups. But a lot of them go to the street, they pour out to the street and celebrate because they have lost faith in democratic governance in Africa. They have lost faith in their leaders to make their lives better. Even though military is not the way to go, but they will tell you anything different, separate from the nonsense that we are having with the so-called civilian rule or democracy, at least we'll do, even if it is temporary. That at least we know that some people they are not taking from us to take care of themselves. We are your employers, but unfortunately we are the ones suffering. This does not make any sense, Mr. President. Please, you need to look critically into it. Else, I will never call for a military coup. But one thing I cannot assure you is, if it happens in Nigeria, I cannot assure you that the people will actually stand in defense of democracy. I cannot vouch for that. Because even for me, I cannot even speak for myself whether or not I will probably applaud such a thing or I will criticize it. I'm not sure. Because the situation at the moment is very dire. Nigerians are hungry and the Nigerians are angry. So please don't push us further. Now, if you go into the news now, we are saying that, look at, before we were saying probably the former administration did very badly when it comes to the economy. As much as we are saying that they are trying to protect the naira, officially naira was selling for 460 naira, 460, 470. In the black market it was around hovering between 670 and 700. Now you have floated the naira without tackling those critical issues that are responsible for the fall in the value of the naira. Now what did we see? Now naira is around 1,000 naira to $1. So would you say that's economical, that's logical as a decision? Those that are speculating, that are responsible for the imbalances and the fluctuations in the value of the naira, especially in the black market, You have not addressed that before you took the decision to float the naira. We have not addressed the issue of economy, handling how we can, tackle the issue of production challenges in Nigeria, so that until we produce and until we start exporting, we cannot earn foreign exchange and we cannot show up the value of the naira. No manipulation by the CBN can return the value of the naira if we are not producing anything, if we only continue to import. Now, these are critical issues, real issues that need to be tackled for us to improve the value of the economy. And these should have been the primary issues that would have been addressed instead of first floating the naira. Instead of first, just removing fuel subsidy without even looking at the issue of the refineries. Now, eventually, what do we have? The same subsidy the president can subsidy is gone just with a wave of hand on May 29. What do we have now? Subsidy is back. Subsidy is back. Because now even the government itself is afraid of increasing, of allowing an increment in the price of fuel. Marketers have already done a forecast that it will probably get to around 900 naira per liter. Do you think Nigerians can survive that? 900 naira for a liter of fuel? You should just come and kill all of us now. So please, this is not how to run government. As much as we love that you are trying to woo investors, if you don't tackle the issues back home, this issue of security, the issue of energy, power, the issue of getting raw materials, there can be no production and the investors will not come. If these are the things they continue to read in our news, do you think they will bring the funds to such an economy? Or of what use if we have companies like GlaxoSmithKline leaving the shores of Nigeria, saying they are stopping production in Nigeria? Dunlop and Michelin, they've left us. So do you think those investors will not find out why those companies are leaving? An economy that cannot power itself. We don't have energy. The distribution companies are actually extorting the people. And you think investors will come in such an economy? It won't happen. So I think that the fundamentals need to be tackled first before we decide to probably just do this superficial mechanism to think we can restore all the value of the naira. You are increasing, CBN is increasing interest rates every day, and you want to compete with an economy. If we are doing 28-30% interest rate and you think investments will thrive in such an economy, it won't happen. And you expect our producers, our manufacturing companies to be competitive with economies where they are doing interest rate at less than 1% or less than 5%, and your own is around 30%, and you think you can compete? You cannot compete. You can want to compete with an economy where the energy price is very, very cheap for manufacturing to take place, where they don't have to be the ones in charge providing the energy for themselves in terms of the price of diesel. Now the price of a liter of diesel is over 1,000 naira. And you think our manufacturing sector can survive? These are the fundamentals that really need to be tackled. Not increasing interest rates. Just you think that would address inflation? When people cannot go to farm, when we have more people demanding for food than the available food supply, you think that what would happen? Do you think interest rates manipulation can actually reduce the inflation in the economy, or that can reduce the price of goods and services within the economy? So, Mr. President, you need to sit your ass down and look at the fundamental issues back home. Now that you have a cabinet, some of these traveling around now, probably you delegate it, they let them do that, and you face the fundamental issues back home. So please, these are fundamental issues. Nigerians are groaning, and you have a responsible set of people as governors who really don't bother about the well-being of their people. The palliatives that you gave, thank God you even gave 2 billion naira instead of just releasing 5 billion naira to go. The 2 billion naira now, what has happened to the 2 billion? Please investigate. The 2 billion has gone off, has disappeared. the truckloads of food items that you gave, we can't see them. We can't see those food items. Then again, in fact, Nigerians are not even beggars, so don't turn us to beggars, Mr. President. That is not the kind of palliative that we need. We need palliative that will keep people in school, not the ones that will take them out of school, like the one you have done now. And all the federal institutions have increased, the fees, the school fees. Now that would put more students out of school. Already we have around 20 million set of people, children that are out of school. Now those are the higher level, are the ones that you also want to put out of school now. Okay, then go ahead. Don't worry. I think Boko Haram will only be a child's play if we continue with these kinds of anti-people policies. Because eventually it is the citizens that might rise against the government. We will never call for that. But please, we are appealing. Don't push them. Because they might not have any other choice than to pounce on the people that they think that at least they have something. Let it not be a case of dog eats dog. Please. So we really need to think properly. That's why you were elected. You yourself said we should not pity you. So we are not pitying you. But then what we are getting from you, it's really not inspiring confidence in the citizens. Where it seems it is us versus the people in government. It should not be like that. We should see you as doing something that will make our lives better. So, Mr. President, we really need you to, do the needful. Not just having more people that will continue to just collect salary for doing nothing. Or 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different people doing the same thing. Collecting different amounts of salary. And it is the same line of job. That does not make any sense. Yes, they supported, we know. We know you are trying to compensate them for the support they gave you. But please, there are still so many other assignments that they really need to do. Please. And time is of essence. Time is of essence. So we'll move on. Well, we have this coming from the NLC. NLC has said that, well, they are not saying the 21 days deadline they gave to the federal government has expired. It expired yesterday, Friday. On 4th September, they gave the government 21 days ultimatum to address, the issue of palliatives, the issue of minimum wage, the issue of outstanding salaries of lecturers, so many other, the issues of probably reducing, personal income tax, and so many other things that could actually ameliorate the suffering of the masses following the removal of fuel subsidy. But unfortunately, it's just been buck passing. The government has not really come out with anything tangible to say that for all this, these are the things that we are putting on the table. Beyond the palliatives that have shown to really be very, very ineffective and riddled with corruption and lack of transparency, because the governors that you gave the responsibility to, they have shown that they lack the capacity and they lack the trust to really discharge such a responsibility. But unfortunately, too, in meeting with the labor leaders, the government has really not shown goodwill that they are interested in finding a solution to this. So it's just been, buck passing or, dilly-dallying, dribbling the labor leaders. And I tell you, see, there is a limit to which you can dribble them. You think that divide and rule will work with them. Thank God now that TUC and NLC are trying to probably find, a middle ground. Because before now it was a case of bringing up TUC and NLC being recalcitrant and say that we will not deal with you. But I think NLC too now has really seen the light that the two labor centers need to work together if they will get anything meaningful from the government. So the government also really needs to meet them with some tangibles. No matter present something. They are demanding 200,000 naira minimum wage. So you can say I cannot afford that. So present something, offer something. Then the citizens will be able to say, oh, probably NLC, please show understanding. Still accept this, then we'll hope that things would improve in the future. But if not even come up to the table with anything, and that I don't think is the way to go. So it's collective bargaining. At least there must be a level of compromise. But you cannot talk about compromise when there is no offer on the table yet. So that is something that we really need, to take a look at. What exactly is NLC demanding? A review of the minimum wage, a workable roadmap to the CNG alternative to petrol. Now, The announcement has been made, subsidy is going to work on CNG. Now we don't even know what is happening in as far as that initiative is concerned. The fixing of the refineries, payment of lecturer salary arrears. So all this, the meeting was held during the week. It was deadlock. Now the ultimatum has expired. We don't know what would happen probably next week, going forward. So, but we hope that the government will do the needful in order to arrest, because I don't think this economy can, withstand a shutdown by labor. So that will be detrimental to all of us. And I don't think the government, if truly it is responsible, would open its eyes and allow that to happen. And we are not talking about you hounding the labor leaders. We are talking about the fact that you dialogue with them and come up with something tangible that would be acceptable to all Nigerians. All right. Muri faults Tinubu's lopsided appointment, urges fairness to all regions and faiths. Tinubu has allayed same faith ticket fears. Now, during the week, we had the Muslim Rights Concern, led by Professor Ishaq Akitola, saying that faulting the president's appointment, especially those from the south. And on this, the president has said that the Murik is saying that the appointment from Yoruba land has been majorly Christians, and the appointment from the south has been majorly Christians and Yorubas. That sends wrong signal to the people, for the fact that he said for the Muslim population that they gave the president support, especially following the backlash that he received with his Muslim ticket of the APC, that it was the Muslims that gave him the bulk of the votes that he scored. And talking about the fact that even when you look at the percentage of the votes that delivered the presidency to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that the bulk of it came from the north. Now, unfortunately, now it seems that the majority of his appointment has actually been southwest. We should not replace this lopsided Buhari appointment for northerners with that of Yorubas. How do you expect the people from the southeast, the south to feel, or the people from the north to feel? That Nigeria is not just about Yoruba people. Although like Akitola that is raising this eyebrow, is also a Yoruba person. So, but you will not say because it's Yoruba, we should close our eyes to the lopsidedness in the president's appointment. Yes, you might say those are his prerogatives, but at the same time, equity and fairness demands that you carry everybody along. So, if the same way we faulted Buhari's appointment, then we would also do the same for Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If he is also, representing this lopsidedness, this parochialism and nepotism that we all accused Muhammadu Buhari of. And on the flip side, the northern unit of the Christian Association of Nigeria has said that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has allayed the fears they had concerning the same faith ticket, especially for the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu went ahead to appoint George Akume, Senator George Akume, as the SGF, a Christian northerner. Ordinarily, I felt that nobody, because they were expecting at least the running mate to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be a northern Christian, but at least for the fact that he appointed Senator George Akume, a northern Christian, as Secretary to Government of the Federation, and at the same time went ahead to appoint the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, that a northerner from southern Kaduna, the first of its kind. That is something unprecedented, and for that reason, the fears that they had that northern Christians will be shortchanged in the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that fear has actually been allayed with such appointment. So that's a positive to the president on one side. So, and the one from Murik is a negative. So I think as a president, he needs to actually, balance everything so that at the end of the day, no segment of this country will feel cheated or will feel left out. So whether it is faith, whether it is region, fairness to all is important. Now, very quickly, bandits attack Federal University Guzo, kidnap 20 students. Military rescue 6 victims, continuous pursuit of attackers. On Thursday night, there was an attack on Federal University Guzo, and about 20 students were kidnapped by bandits. And Guzo is in Zamfara State actually, and it's a federal university. So, that is still bringing to bear the fact that there is a need for us to do more when it comes to security. See, we cannot, place no, we cannot place too much premium on security. It's not possible. See, security would always be security, and nothing can happen in an atmosphere of insecurity. So, government should please do the needful. And we were thinking that the Inspector General of Police talked about the fact that he's launching a school protection squad. We don't know how far the government had gone with that. So, but we hope that the needful will be done in this area. And 6 females of the 20 students that were kidnapped have already been rescued. Kudos to our military. And we pray and for God's support and guidance to you in helping us retrieve the remaining kidnapped people. CJN swears in appeal court judges as Justice Amina Oge retires from the Supreme Court bench. Well, during the week, Justice Kayode Ariwoola inaugurated, new, swore in new appeal court judges, and that increased, the number to about 80 judges. And ordinarily, the appeal court should have as much as 90 judges. Now, so that is short of, the full complement. And the same thing, now we had Justice Amina Oge retiring from the Supreme Court bench. So it means, therefore, we only have 11 judges remaining on the Supreme Court bench. Now, with the presidential election petitions the appeal moving to the Supreme Court now, 7 judges would handle that appeal. It means we only have 4 Supreme Court judges left to handle all other cases. And there have been cases that have been awaiting judgment at the Supreme Court, some for over 20 years. So please, there is a need. And thank God at this forum when Justice Amina Oge was retiring, there was a suggestion that the National Assembly really needs to make constitutional amendment concerning the judiciary, so that we can have more judges appointed to the bench. And there's even no brainer. The same way we can, many years back, I remember that in 2019 when Mr. Festus Keyamo was attending the screening at the Senate, one of the things he recommended then is the unbundling of the Supreme Court, that we can have regional Supreme Courts. So instead of just one Supreme Court in Abuja, that the same way we have appeal courts at different divisions within Nigeria, we can also have the Supreme Court unbundled like that, so that many cases can be dispensed with as quick as possible. Instead of just, now imagine just having 11 judges, and for the next probably 90 days, they would be busy with presidential election petition, appeal. So 7 of them, remaining just 4 justices. Imagine how that would affect the criminal justice system, or the justice system in Nigeria as a whole. And it is said that justice delayed is justice denied. So many people have actually been denied justice because we don't have the full complement of the Supreme Court judges. So we hope that the Chief Justice will do the needful, probably dialogue with the President and members of the National Assembly to have this constitutional amendment. And at the same time, even pending when that would happen, that we should have more appointments of judges to the Supreme Court, so that we can have the full complement of judges at the Supreme Court, and we can easily dispense with some of the pending cases awaiting judgment. Well, nationwide blackout as power grid collapses again. We know this is a regular phenomenon in Nigeria. So we just don't even know. Well, we have already broken records with the number of grid collapses that we have witnessed within a few years. Now, this is another one. On Tuesday, 19th September. And we are talking about, a collapse. Less than 6 hours. This is coming just after the one that was witnessed, upper Wednesday, the 13th of December, where we had 2 grid collapses within 6 hours, following an alleged outbreak of fire at the Kanji / and Jeba stations in Niger State. So what we are saying is, I think at this juncture, the president really needs to put a lot of pressure on the states to really think of generating power, because of the fact that the encumbrances to power generation at the level of the states have actually been removed. So now we hope that states can actually take opportunity of this to really take their state off the national grid. The idea that just one center, the whole country is controlling power supply to the whole federation, does not make any sense. So at this juncture, we hope that, and sincerely, if anything, if I would say my mind, I would say the current minister of power does not understand that sector. Mr. President, please, if there is a way you can still appeal to Mr. El-Rufai, if you think that he has the capacity to really give us all we need, please help us bring him back, appoint him, and let's have probably Adelabu go to another ministry. Adelabu has shown that he does not have the capacity to handle that ministry, and based on information, that minister has actually been good, attending OMBs all around and not facing his primary responsibility as the minister of power. So it is important that we take note of this. See, we cannot have an improved economy without our power supply. Oh, we have this. What is this? Public criticism of government, a Muslim station. This is not about that can always be public criticism of government. That government is not doing right does not mean we should keep quiet. Mr. Olawale Iwole, thank you for a message, but at the same time, yes, the government is open to public criticism if it is not doing well. It's not only that. See, your government not doing well, even people challenge the authorities of Muslim nations when they are not doing well. You can go and read in the history of Islam. Even for Umar was challenged when and people demanded answers publicly when they felt that they were dissatisfied with what was going on. Even when he was trying to make a wrong pronouncement on the pulpit, a woman, for that matter, called his attention to say, do you want to legislate on what God and his messenger did not legislate on? And he said, yes, well, that woman is right and Umar is wrong, and he withdrew. If that did not happen, what do you think would have happened? So, Mr. Probably, I think you also need to really improve yourself when it comes to knowledge of Islam, and not come to public fora like this and say that we are criticizing God. We can criticize government if the government is doing what is wrong. So it's part of public life. And mind you, this is not even an Islamic government, and this is not an Islamic state. So please, you need to look at it. The government, this is a democracy, and public criticism of government is part of democracy. Please, let us take note of that. This is a democracy, not a theocracy. So when you get to probably Saudi Arabia, you can tell them that this is Nigeria, Mister. Thank you very much. Fola Shodun, deputies resign as Cardozo others assume CBN leadership in acting capacity. Well, during the week we heard that Mr. Godwin Emefiele has eventually resigned. So also with his deputy governors in the CBN. Now, because there was this controversy as to whether or not with the appointment of Yemi Cardoso, can we have two CBN governors at the same time when the ones in charge, the substantive ones have not resigned, and we also have one in acting capacity, and they have also not been screened. Now, if you look at this, following this, the monetary policy meeting of the CBN that ought to have been held was postponed indefinitely because there was no clarity concerning as far as the leadership of the CBN and who exactly, because we already have nominees for such position. So is it these nominees that will actually undertake the monetary policy committee meeting, or it is the substantive ones that are yet to resign, but probably we had underhand dealings or that behind the scene that some of them have already quit, and some probably have been arrested and are facing prosecution or what have you. So who exactly will call for this meeting? So that's why we are having this, and eventually we heard that they have resigned. So such resignation will pave way for those that have been nominated probably to start work in acting capacity, pending when the appointment would be screened by the and confirmed by the National Assembly. All right. Controversy, protest, trail, death of Afrobeat singer Mohbad, police exhume body, and things like that. Well, there are so many things have been said concerning the death of Ileri Oluwa Imole Aloba, or popularly known as Mohbad. But then, some quick things. First is the fact that there is a need for the government and regulators to actually look into what is going on as far as the entertainment industry as a whole is concerned, not just the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole, because there have been accusation and counter accusation as to the way producers actually treat those musicians and things like that. record labels, how they treat their signees, and so many things. Not to now talk about the fact that that industry is riddled with drug abuse, cultism, and so many unwholesome practices. Now, many people are made to sign slave contracts that at the end of the day, by the time they get further exposure, they realize the mistakes they have made and they want to opt out. But these record labels will hold them by the jugular and will not allow them leave. So a lot of investigation. So in the case of Mohbad, his body has been exhumed for autopsy. The police has already the autopsy has been carried out. Now we're waiting for the result of the autopsy. But in the meantime, based on information we had, that the police has invited the boss of Malian Records, and that is Aziz Fashola, popularly known as Naira Mali, and his aide or his acquaintance, so-called Sam Larry, that both of them should report at the police to say what they know. The same thing with an acquaintance of the late Mohbad. They call him Bella or whatever. It's not, I don't know. So Bella Shimuda or something. So that he knows something about what has been going on as far as the contract signed by Mohbad with the Malian Records is concerned. So many other things like that. But it shows a whole lot of darkness as far as that industry is concerned, and there is a need for us to illuminate what is going on there. My appeal to the Nigerian youth is that do not allow desperation to make you sign slave contracts. And that's why I'll talk about education. See, education is very, very important. Now you can understand that when someone is going out there saying nonsense that who school help, that school na scam. Now you would understand that school is not a scam. When someone is making you to sign a contract that you actually don't understand the details, how dare you sign even a contract without a legal representation, without legal advice? So when we talk about education, this is where your education is important. This is where it comes in. It's not just about making money, because everybody is just about money. This quest for money. The desperation to have money at all costs, what is pushing people into drug abuse, pushing people to cyber crimes, pushing people to signing slave contract, pushing people out of school to say that, well, school now scam, let me go and make money. Whether everybody now wants to be a musician, everybody wants to be a model, everybody wants to be an actress. That is not the only way to go. And as a nation, the government really needs to do the needful in encouraging people to remain in school, and we really need probably to make education more functional. Just the theories. We're not saying people should not go into entertainment, but at least the minimum education required for them to understand what life is and how they can survive in life with whatever talent that they have, with whatever areas they have interest in, that they can explore their passion, and with the kind of education and exposure that they get through that education, they can navigate life easily. It is important that we take note of all this, and we hope that the police will do the needful, because a lot of people are actually already losing confidence in the capacity of the police. If the governor of Lagos State is saying that DSS has to come in, that is an indictment of the Nigerian police. It shows that the governor and the government of Lagos does not have trust in the capacity of the police to do diligent investigation. I don't know why we are bringing DSS into this. This does not make any sense. This is not a part of the area. Probably we need DSS. We need the police in this area. Let's allow the police do its work, and let us put that pressure on them to do the needful. And they must, do diligent investigation and prosecute all those who are found culpable in all of this. Why was he hurriedly buried? Who certified him dead? Was there any death certificate for that purpose? Now we heard that the nurse that probably was reported to have injected him when he complained of, we were told that it was an anti-tetanus injection, and the nurse that injected him is actually an auxiliary nurse and has been arrested. These are part of the issues, because here we talk about people, auxiliary nurse, learning nursing as if they are learning tailoring. It does not make any sense. Please, you did not go to a nursing school and you call yourself a nurse because you saw some people being, this is how to give injection, so you too, you think that you have learned nursing now. So is that what it is? What's the content of what you're injecting? What exactly is wrong with the person? So these are issues that I think that with a whole lot of investigation would unravel. So we hope that the needful will be done. Because of time, I will quickly go to Kano State. We know that The Election Petition Tribunal in Kano State had actually voided the election of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, the current governor of the NNPP, and declared Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, the APC candidate in the gubernatorial election, as the winner. Now, on what basis? Because a lot of people might not understand the basis upon which that judgment was arrived at. The judgment was arrived at on the basis that about 165,000 ballot papers that were thumbprinted and allocated to the NNPP. They found out that 165,000 of these ballot papers were not signed and stamped by the presiding officer as prescribed by the Electoral Act and INEC guidelines. So on that basis, they found those ballot papers to be suspect, and those ones were struck off the total number of votes scored by Governor Abba Yusuf. And looking at the number of votes scored by Governor Abba Yusuf is in excess of 1 million. A little above 1 million. And Nasir Yusuf Gawuna scored about 890 something thousand votes. So by the time you chop off 165,000 out of the 1 million, so what you have left is less than the 890 something thousand votes scored by Yusuf Gawuna. So on that basis, the panel concluded that Yusuf Gawuna is the rightful winner of the election, and it has called on INEC to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and issue another to Yusuf Gawuna. The governor, Abba Yusuf, had actually addressed a press conference to call for calm in Kano. In fact, a curfew was declared because, Kano is always very, very volatile when it comes to some of these political issues. So because of that, a curfew was declared, and governor has addressed, the public that they should go about their normal business. Everybody should remain calm. His supporters should remain calm. They should not be violent, and that he has options of appeal. So he will still appeal to the appeal courts. And if he still does not get what he wants, he still has the opportunity of still going to the Supreme Court. That is the problem that we have actually caused for ourselves. So many cases that should have terminated at the appeal court, we have taken to the Supreme Court just because of what happened in Osun State and Ekiti State many years back. Then under the PDP, they felt that, if probably the case had got to Supreme Court, we had more loyalists in the Supreme Court that would actually make the case go our way. So on that basis, they decided that the constitution was amended to now allow appeal for governorship election to only terminate at the Supreme Court and not at the appeal court. So for now, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf remains the governor of Kano State, pending the exhaustion of the opportunities of appeal at the Court of Appeal and at the Supreme Court. So we'll continue to follow a development in that light. All right. So apart from that, we know that impeachment galore now is what we are witnessing. We know quite well that in Edo State, the brickbat between the governor and his deputy is still ongoing. The office of the deputy governor has been relocated. Now he said, he has accepted his faith, and the deputy governor Philip Shaibu said he has already relocated and he has resumed in that new office. And we heard that the new office, the governor already even allocated to an NGO. Can you imagine how we run democracy? Is this democracy? But it's rather unfortunate that the governor can just decide that because I don't want this deputy, or this deputy has offended me, I can just remove him anyhow. I will find a way to punish him. Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, deputy governor has gone there, and that one too is something as if, well, you must understand that the democracy that we practice, it is the governor that is the main man. You are only a spare tire, whether you like it or not. That's the reality. So you only perform the functions delegated to you by the governor. The governor feels that I don't have anything to delegate to you, just remain redundant. You will remain redundant, and you have to accept your fate because he picked you as the running mate, even though it was a joint ticket. But unfortunately, that's the way we practice our democracy in Nigeria. Now he has eaten the humble pie and has apologized to the governor. As he said he is sorry and that the governor should forgive him, appeal for forgiveness, and that he will hope that the relationship can still remain. I'm not sure that is going to happen anytime soon. They have just few months to the end of their tenure. Whether or not he would still follow through with his ambition, whether or not he'll get the support of his governor, and whether or not the governor would allow fence mending, that is left to Governor Obaseki. And a similar thing is now playing out in Ondo State. Now we know that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is back from his medical trip, And right now, the Ondo State House of Assembly has begun impeachment proceedings against Deputy Governor Aloke Aiyedatiwa. And the allegation against him, they said gross misconduct, and they accused him of corruption that within the short stint as acting governor in the absence of Akeredolu, that the deputy governor approved the sum of about 350 million naira for himself to procure a bulletproof jeep for himself. The question I would have asked is, if that allegation is true, did the deputy governor, does he not have an official vehicle before he was made acting governor? Or just because he has been made acting governor now he feels let me step up as the acting governor now? This kind of vehicle that I'm using now no longer fits my status as acting governor. If that is true, well, it remains to be seen. But I think that it's actually some hands behind the scene trying to push out the deputy governor. We know that the move started even before officially Governor Rotimi Akeredolu wrote to the House of Assembly to officially inform them of his medical leave. But now that he's back, and we learned that he has not even resumed in Ondo State, that he's actually governing the state from Oyo State in Ibadan in his private residence. Whether that is democratic enough, and I know that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is actually a senior advocate of Nigeria, so I would not expect him to actually contravene the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But then, let's see how far that goes. FCTA revokes 165 plots of land in Abuja. Minister Wike is working. And for all those people, those lands were revoked for the fact that they have been allocated to them all this while and they have not developed the land. So the titles to that land have been revoked by the FCTA administration. So I know probably some people might want to go to court to protest that, but it's within their democratic right. Let them go to court if they feel that they have been unfairly treated, or probably those lands have been taken away. So many, politically exposed persons are part of those who lost, their land, including Mr. Peter Obi, late Justice Nikki Toby, so many frontline Senator Olabere, late Senator Olabere Duro Jaye, so many people, former Secretary to Government of the Federation, late Ume Ufote Kaite, and so many other people like that, including even businessman Abdusamad Rabiu, the chairman of BUA group of companies, and so many other people like that lost their land allocation in the FCT to this revocation. All right, so cultist clash in Ogun State, 20 people feared killed. Ogun resident protest bad roads linking Trinka train station. We just hope that Governor Dapo Abiodun would show capacity to really run that state as effectively as possible. Well, the cultist clash in Shagamu has left 20 people dead, although the police came out to say that just 8 people died. And now we have heard that a member of the State House of Assembly has also been implicated and has been arrested on that, on the basis of that particular incident. So how far that will go remains to be seen. On the flip side, the residents of a particular community where we have the Wole Soyinka train station, part of the train station along the Lagos Ibadan standard rail line, the train station there, the road linking to the train station there in Abeokuta is in terrible shape, and unfortunately the state governor has not been able to fix that road. So they are actually appealing to Governor Abiodun. Well, I know that it's not just that road that is bad in Ogun State. So many roads in Ogun State are bad. So many abandoned projects since the time of Governor Ibikunle Amosun, who destroyed those roads in the name of trying to reconstruct them. And they started the project and he abandoned it, especially in his second term in office. And since then, the roads remained abandoned. Governor Dapo Abiodun, in his first term in office, came around and said he was going to do those places. Till now, he has not touched many of those places. And the residents are groaning. Go to Giwa Okearo, very terrible. Go to Ijoko, very terrible. Go to Agbado station at Dion side, very terrible. Do we have governors in Ogun State? Governor Dapo Abiodun, it is there. We hope that you can go beyond some of these unnecessary fights with former Governor Gbenga Daniel and actually face governance in Ogun State. Ogun State people are suffering. They are suffering leadership failure in the state. So we hope that at least these second term tickets that you are still trying to hold on to pending the outcome of the tribunal cases, at least for now you are the de facto governor and the de jure governor of Ogun State. So please, can you try to do the needful? At least endear yourself and write your name in gold in the minds of the people of Ogun State. I think it's better you do this. Well, very quickly, Dangote Refinery promises to begin operations in October with diesel aviation fuel. Well, I'll take that with a pinch of salt. We have been disappointed several times. This Dangote Refinery ought to have actually come on board before year 2023. But disappointment about disappointment. April, it did not. It was inaugurated in May 2023 when the project has not actually been completed. We're told that crude refining will start in July, late July or August. July ended nothing. August ended nothing. September is ending nothing. And now you're promising us October. We'll take that with a pinch of salt. And unfortunately, what Nigerians really need more is that of petrol. But now you have even disappointed us that it won't happen. We should not expect petrol in October or even November. Probably around December or something thereabout. See, and we know quite well that Nigeria has 20% stake in that refinery through the NNPC. Well, NNPC is saying that yes, they are committed to providing crude for Dangote Refinery. The same NNPC that has borrowed about $3 billion from our Exim Bank with the promise of using crude to pay back. The same NNPC that has not been able to supply crude to modular refineries, the same NNPC that is unable to meet up with our OPEC quota of 1.6 million barrels per day, is the one that is now saying all of this. See, like I said, I'll take that story with a pinch of salt. For me, I will not even place my trust in anybody in government or anybody close to government. Our own is do it. When you do it, then we'll believe that what you are saying. But for us to now probably put our trust just on the basis of what you have promised, sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint you. That is not going to happen. Very quickly on a foreign scene, Congo denies coup attempt against long-time ruler Sassou Nguesso. And we know the Nigerian General Assembly is going on. The leader, this man, Sassou Nguesso, is actually the longest ruling leader in Africa. The longest. And for this reason, this man, I think the second longest also. We have Theodore Obiang in, I think, Equatorial Guinea. So, Sassou Nguesso, this is in Congo, Congo Brazzaville. They denied the report of the coup because the man was in New York. Probably they were trying to do something before he comes back to, overthrow him. And we also have Paul Biya of Cameroon. All these people have spent close to 40 years in the reign of affairs in their countries. And during the week too, Paul Kagame has said he's going to run for a fourth term. He has spent about 23 years in Rwanda, and he still says he wants to continue. Well, the coup leader in Guinea, has told the UN General Assembly that people should not bother about coups in Africa. It's actually the sit-tight leaders that they should bother about. Because it is these people actually that are actually staging a coup against their people. Those that are manipulating the constitution to allow them to continue to remain in office are actually the ones culpable, not the officers who actually upstage them or overthrow them. So for that reason, that people should really not bother about the coupists, the putschists, but they should bother about the sit-tight leaders in Africa. So how do you think we'll be able to fault this particular statement? I don't think so. We have sit-tight leaders that have not given their people the dividends of democracy. I can excuse that of Rwanda because the Rwandan people are actually happy with this government, and Rwanda has become better. This was a country that witnessed genocide in 1994. and it was able to come out of it, has come out of it stronger. Rwanda is the neatest country in Africa, if not probably even, and Kigali is probably the cleanest city in the world. So now we are talking about that leader. So in all of this, African leaders, this sit tight mentality is not the best for us. And I think a leader without successor is not successful. Instead of just thinking about sitting tight in offices and saying it is only about us, why not let us groom leaders that can actually be more effective and take over from us? That will be the hallmark of leadership, that we are able to produce successful leaders that can take over from us and bring our countries out of the trenches and give them a new means of life and turn them to developed nations, and not developing nations that will be depending on aids that is coming from actually our own resources. Those have come to steal our resources, not give it back to us in form of aids and loans that keep us impoverished. It is not in our best interest. So this on this note, that I'll call it a wrap on Newspaper Headlines Review, hoping to make a return next week. But we have a quick announcement to make to all of us concerning the Newspaper Headlines Review. We are changing the timing because of some logistic rearrangement here at Lights Radio. So from next week, news review will not be coming from 9 to 10 again. News review will be coming online to your airwaves between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturdays from next week. Wow. Between 1 and 2 p.m. from next week, that is when we'll be having Newspaper Headlines Review. And by next week, God willing, we'll be having Haja Amina around and MC Vibes, taking charge of things. And with myself, OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, your, analyst, giving you perspectives to the news headlines. On this note, we wish you a wonderful weekend, and may God spare our lives till and beyond next week. Till then, bye-bye.